Hi, this is Kalyan from PSYsolution and you're listening to my audio article series. The topic of this article is Let us start at zero. Disposition, Dialectical Science, Foundation, Nature Cure. To explore my articles, please visit the notes section of my Facebook page fb.com/getPSYsolution or click psysolution.co.in for direct access. What if I don't have any scripture to refer? What if I don't follow a person just for the sake of following? What if I don't have any community to support my understandings about life? The dialectics is about the art of investigating the truth of opinions. It is an exploration of truth without any specific dependencies of scripture, individual, or the data. It is an exercise of individual's own rationality, intellect, and the wisdom. Unless it is reached by the intellect of the individual, it is not a pure acceptance. If it is expressed as accepted on the basis of where is it written at, or who said it, or how many people have accepted it, it is a pretension. It is an ancient syndrome of the individual. Ancient syndrome is just another psychological confinement and inadequacy that we suffer from. This is a state where the individual starts with the prior consideration of some specific facts as acceptable. It may be related to some old scripture or some popular individual or the popularity of some aspect. The initial biased inclination leads us to create many morphed justifications to accept those phenomena. Unless we free ourselves from the prior influences, the real freedom can never be achieved. The pure nature cure is nothing but the dialectic execution of our intellect to attain the real freedom. Where is it written at? This is the first category of confinement. If we refer an old scripture just to establish our conditioned understanding, it is a prominent limitation. It often starts with a back calculation of justifying the scripture. It could be a religion or culture or tradition driven conditioning that pushes us to justify the scripture. It is well understood and not an ignored fact that the scriptures are the products of intellectual executions of our ancestors. But so what? The intellect of every individual has to be exercised discreetly without any dependencies on ancestral intellects. Genetically, we are equipped with the potentiality of processing information, not with the information. Information has to be processed by each individual on the merits of the dialects of the information. Let that be a trivial understanding, but unless it is reached by the individual independently, it is not assimilated. If it is not assimilated but accepted superficially, it is a toll on our vitality. Even if we find a concrete rationality in an aspect mentioned in the old scripture, we should not carry on referring the scripture as justification. This is a common juxtaposition that we opt due to the shallow exploration of the facts. If we keep on referring to the scripture as the point of justification, at beyond conscious level, we embrace superstitions of considering all aspects mentioned in the scripture as acceptable. Who said it? It is the second and similar category of confinement. We often drift into the idol worshipping of an individual who has been accepted in the past and has an acceptable track record. In this again, we miss the rational path of acceptance. Each, I repeat, each and every act of an individual should be validated on the merits of the present act only. The influence of the goodness or the badness of previous act should not impact the acceptability of the present act of the individual. It is an insult of the intellect of the one who is tending to accept without any dialectic validation. The dialectics would never get influenced by the past experience or the future predictions. It is about the now. How many people have accepted it? This is the third category of confinement. This can be called as the data impact. The logical and sequential execution of intellect usually tends to miss out the important aspect of fact analysis under the influence of the data. Depending blindly on the how many would be another deception of the individual intellect. No aspect of dialectics can be validated on the basis of its popularity. The popularity has got an exponential spread over the mass intellect, which is a mythical existence. The individual intellect is the actual execution of analytical capability which merges from intellect to the wisdom of the individual. That is what is the dialectic. The freedom, the zero. At the point zero, we are poised to exercise our analytical capacity and rational aptitude. That is the real freedom that we all seek for. If we can unshackle ourselves from the biased influences of scripture, individual, and the data, we make ourselves free. The freedom of being at zero consumes the least vitality. The present, the zero. The present without the influence of past and future is the best state to be in. Now is the only truth. Not the impressions of what happened before matters to the real experience of now. Not the assumptions of what will happen after matters to the real experience of now. The real experience of the present is the actual freedom. The enjoyment of present being at zero consumes the least vitality. Thank you. Disclaimer. This copyrighted article is written under the light of true nature cure practice and does not align with medicinal practices. It is an educational endeavor to explain that the real cure is achieved from within. The individual should consult a competent health practitioner to clarify the doubts regarding health.